So let's come to index.php, and now we are going to do a basic test of our login. So let's get rid of all of this for now. So let's get rid of all of this, and here I'm going to say logger is equal to no logger. Okay, so this is our logger class. And then here we can say logger log. So let's test this out first. So we're going to pass in something wrong. Okay, no level. And then we're going to pass this a message. So let's see, test no level. Okay, and then we're just going to run the application from the command line. So I'm going to open my command line too, and then PHP index.php. And basically here we get an exception. So let's scroll up and see class exception invalid log level argument. And then we basically pass in a log, a level that was passed into the application, and then we also pass in data, which are the valid log levels. So the one that the user passed in is basically no level. Let's reload that on the browser. Okay, so we can see it clearly here. We have the data, and then we have the one that the user passed in. So that tells us that our check there works correctly. We now want to just test if it works the way that we want it to work. So we want to say log level is log level. So refer to a constant, the code is emergency, and then the message is there is an emergency. There is an emergency. And then we can also pass in a context, which is just an array, and pass it key value pair. So let's say exception is a key, and that should be equal to an exception that occurred. So let's say exception occurred. All right, so basically we have this here, and then we can actually run it. Let's just add 1 or 2 before we run it. So let's say logger, and then say info. Okay, so now when we say info, we don't need to pass in the level, we just need to pass in the message. So we're going to say user account created successfully, and then there is no context for this. So on a good day, maybe you want to pass in the user ID in an array, so we could say ID, and then we could then say 5. Okay, and then let's just run this in the browser. We shouldn't get an error if everything works fine. All right, we have a blank page, and then when we come back to the app, we can see in the file that we now have, we can see in the folder that we now have one file, local dash and the date.log. If we open that, we can now see our application log correctly logged in the file. Okay, so there's some spelling errors here. You can just ignore that. So you can see the date, the level, the context. All right, so date, level, context. You can see level, emergency, level, info, message, and so on. So for message, we need to add here a semicolon. Okay, so let's add a semicolon here, and then let's come to app config, and then just change this to dev. Change that to dev, and then run the application again. And then let's see what happens. You can now see that we have a different file. Okay, but if we don't change that and we run it again, we should have this information logged to the same file. Okay, so All right, so now we see the information logged to the send file. So this is basically how we implement a simple login for our application, and you can begin to see the beauty of what we have been doing so far. We just put in all of these things in place, and then when we start building the application, it will be really simple to just use something and then get things working really super fast.